Hey folks, Isaac the Nothing Miller here, getting ready to tie up some steelhead jigs. Winter's coming, and there's nothing much more than I like than jig fishing on the winter for steelhead. It's killer. Show you some of the stuff I'm going to be using today to tie this jig, and then we'll get started. I use a 1/4 ounce jig from Green Tackle. This is a lead-free jig. Fish don't care. I do. Painted pink. It's got a 2x strong Gamakatsu hook. They also make these with owner hooks and sickle hooks too. So if you prefer sickles, we got them. Owners, they got them. Great hook. I like the Gamakatsus. They're sharp, they're strong, especially this 2x strong hook. It's pretty sweet. Using a pink 140 denier ultra thread, or fluorescent pink for that matter. One of the things we're going to need: bubblegum pink Marabou. Starting to see a theme here, aren't you? Pink. To go along with that, some fluorescent pink UV ultra fine dubbing. Super important to go UV treated when it comes to steelhead. It's been proven time and time again that steelhead see UV spectrum light, and you got to brighten up all your lures, your flies, your jigs, whatever you're using. I mean, they even got stuff to put on bait. So if you're doing eggs, you got to go UV with steelhead. Finally, some schlappen. This is white. Definitely a favorite of mine for the Sandy River. It's pretty well known that steelhead on the Sandy like white first, pink second. So I'm going to use a good amount of white schlappen here, and let's get to work. I'll show you how it's all done. Alright, so here we go. Start off by getting your hook in the vise. Make sure it's well and secure, not going to go anywhere. And then we're going to start our thread. Like I said before, this is the 140 denier fluorescent pink ultra thread. Is that right? Sure hope I had that right. Yep, it's ultra thread. Alright. Take that down. Since we're covering this all up, you don't have to be super crazy perfect about it. I do take the thread back to the hook point. You can see right there, just before the bend of the hook. And now it's time for our pink. Now we want to size this up. I like the tail to be as long as the hook shank, or just a little bit shorter. And that looks pretty darn close. That on there. Should look something like that. 3 reps. Secure it in front. I can take it back over again just to be secure. Trim that off. Wrap that up nice and good. Now, a lot of guys at this point will throw on a little bit of cement right there. I trust my abilities. I'm not going to throw any cement on there. We're going to throw on some dubbing. Now, the purpose of this dubbing is has twofold, really. There's a couple of reasons. One, like I said, it's UV, and as this jig pulsates through the water, that UV is going to pulsate with the jig too. So I really want that to come through and shine on the jig. Throw a nice big ball of that right there. The other purpose is that it's going to help keep our white schlappen here from folding back flat against the jig, and really takes away from the profile. I'm looking for a really good full feather here. This looks like a ticket. And I'm not going to size this up at all. It doesn't matter, like many you're like fly tying, you know, when you're fly tying, you're looking for a specific size, and I don't care so much when it comes to the steelhead jigs. Just make sure it's good and secure. And I tied that on upside down. That's the other thing you got to be careful about. That's the one thing you got to be careful about. Let me undo all this. Didn't realize I'd thrown so many wraps around there. Because when we get done, we want these feathers kind of pointing backwards. And I had this tied on upside down. Take two here. There we go. Something like that. Now we're going to pull these feathers back. We're going to do this as we go too. I like to get just a little initial pull back. That's really going to help. Some guys like to use their scissors. I'm not very good at that. I keep trying, but I'm not very trusting. We're just going to wrap this forward. Remember to keep pulling these fibers back towards the end of the jig as we go. There we are. Pulling them back. I've got no problem making this a really full-bodied through here. I mean, I really want this to stand out, so I'm going to wrap this whole thing. No problems. Just pulling things back and wrapping around. I'm going to get a few strays since I'm stacking this so close to each other. Keep pulling. And that should be more than enough at this point. So I'm going to go ahead, secure that down. I also do this instead of with a schlappen. I'll use Marabou. Do the same thing. It actually gives you a much fuller body because the white Marabou strands will come almost all the way back to the tail. So it works out really well if you use Marabou as well. Get that tightened down, just like that. And then we're going to finish things up with some more dubbing. I like another little ball of dubbing right behind the jig head here. Really helps kind of finish things up and gives you that little more UV flash. Like a little bit bigger ball than that. Another pinch dubbing. Like the ball of dubbing here to be just a little bit smaller than the jig head itself. There we go. Something like that. Like I said, just a little bit smaller. We come in with our whip finisher. Steelhead, so I like to make, let go. I'll do a couple of whip finishes on top just to really nail things down. Come in, clip, and done. That's it. That's one of my favorite Winter Steelhead jigs. Give it a shot for yourself and see how you like it. Like I said, it's caught me fish. I'm sure it'll catch you some as well. Take care.